Facebook.
We are.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Anu Mehta here again. Namaste. For everybody across the globe, I'm getting this beautiful friend of mine, Archana.
Namaste. Hello, everyone.
Yes, she's going to be talking to us about Bhagavad Gita. We did part 1 yesterday. We haven't sent you an invite so far. This was an experiment, guys. And today it goes again in the same way. So let's just test the waters and see how it is and how you're finding it. If you want me to continue with this, do send a message right down so that I can read it. So let's go over to Dr. Archana. Dr. Archana, could you please introduce what you really do? Because people need to know that you are a doctor who is interested in Bhagavad Gita, but can you give them what you really do? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Archana Kumar. Namaskar. And I am a homeopathic physician by profession. I'm practicing Metta Health, which I picked up from Dr. Anu Mehta, color therapy, and a numerology. So I'm basically practicing homeopath, signalist, numerologist, a Metta Health practitioner, and learning color therapy. That's the latest that I'm learning. I'm placed in Delhi. And for now, I am sharing with you my, what I would like to call it, my elixir of life, Bhagavad Gita. That's what I live on. That's my life. And yes, I'm sharing that with you all.
Wonderful. I am so glad that we have Dr. Archana. Like I confessed yesterday, my knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is really, really small or really, really slim. I'm trying to understand from Archana far more. And with you, I'm also a seeker who is sitting down and trying to understand this and connect it with health. So I think it's a brilliant topic, especially right now when we are going to be having Diwali and we are actually having a little Mahabharat going on in everyone's house because of the COVID. And so what better topic to pick up than to pick up about Bhagavad Gita and how it basically impacts our health. So yesterday we were in conversation and we did the part 1. It's still there live on Facebook. If you have missed it, go back, have a look. We'll be putting today's episode on the YouTube. Yesterday's we did not put. It was the first session. And Archana, could you take me back? Yesterday we spoke and we ended our program at the small eye and the big eye. If you can give people again what is small eye, big eye, and give me more relation around that. I really thank you for this.
Perfect. Okay, now first of all, I would like everybody to know, it is just, a way of mentioning things. We all know the 5 basic elements of nature, which we call as Bhumi, Jal, Akash, Agni and Vayu. That is earth, fire, water, air, sky or ether. Okay. Ether can also be called void. If there is nothing, it is Akash. It's the emptiness and it is beautiful if you're in that state. All right.
Just to let people know over here, if I connect it, all the hollow organs in your body, all the hollow organs like your eyes, your stomach, your spleen, not really spleen, but your stomach, your eyes, which look as if they're empty spaces, are basically ether. Thank you, Archana.
Now, all these 5 elements form our body, which we call Sharir. Okay. Now, this body works like the way I shared it yesterday, that it has an energy in it, which we address as soul or energy. Now, that is the energy which runs these 5 elements. And that energy is the capital I or Krishna consciousness or the elemental energy ruling power. Now, basically what it is the eternal blissful state of power and energy which is ruling Maya. Maya includes the illusion, right? Our body, including all the materialistic aspects of the world, is Maya. The biggest Maya is the 5 elemental part which we call as sharir or body. That's the biggest illusion. That's the biggest maya. The minute the energy running these five elements, the way I shared yesterday, we call a dead body in Hindi, it's called arathi. A plus rathi. A is the body and rathi is the energy, the power which is ruling, moving, making us see things, making us taste things, making us hear things, making us perceive things, including using our intellect. That energy is Rathi. The minute that Rathi, that energy, that power leaves the body, the five elements still exist, but in a non active state. That is the body, that's the small I. And that is where Arjun is coming from in Mahabharata, in especially Bhagavad Gita. It's a 45-minute conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjun on the battlegrounds of Mahabharata.
So you're
That's,
saying, Archana, that we are made up of 5 different elements.
yeah.
Could you repeat what are the 5 elements so people really get it?
See, basically, they are called the Panch Mahabhuts. That's the word we use. And they are Bhumi, Jal. Okay, I'll speak it in English. Earth, fire, water, air, sky, or ether.
Okay, so we are basically, our body has got all these 5 elements.
Yes.
So we are made up of earth, water, fire, and we are made up of ether. And there's one more. What is that?
Air, air.
Okay. Made up of all these elements. And
Yeah.
this is what we connect to as a small I.
Yeah.
So
The body.
our body is basically giving us, which is an illusion, which you said is Maya. Could you
Yes.
explain what is the illusion there? The Maya, what's
Illusion there is that without the soul, without the energy, the existence of that five elements is as good as not being there.
oh,
You
okay.
will not move, you will not perceive, you will not see, you will not hear, you will not taste. Nothing is going to happen if the soul, the Rathi in your body is not there. How will you see? Does a dead body see? No. Does a dead body feel anything? You go kiss it, you go abuse it, you love it, you garland it, you do anything. It does not even acknowledge your presence. But if you do all that to a living being who has the soul, the energy, the Christian consciousness in it, he will respond back to you. So, what is responding back to you is the fact of existence of that soul and energy in the body, in the five elements.
And are we saying that every body has a different soul?
Every body has a different soul, but the origin of all of them comes from one eternal source of Godhead, the Supreme Energy,
Say we are all droplets of water
from the same ocean.
from the same ocean.
Absolutely. And it is not just the human beings, Anu, it is every creature. That's what Lord Krishna mentions, that I am not just the human. I exist from the material and the non-material. I exist in everything, from an ant to an elephant, from the basic granule of sand to the Sumeru Parvat, which is the one of the biggest mountains. So existence of that soul, that energy is not materialistic or not immaterialistic. It exists everywhere.
So, Archana, I'm very confused here.
Yeah.
We've constantly said, some animals are not at the higher status of a human being.
Yeah.
But now we are saying that the soul exists everywhere and the energy exists everywhere. So are
Yes.
we saying that some energies are less important than some energies are more important, or some have, I don't know. I've often,
I'll give you a very small example. You're talking about living things. I'll give you a small example where I'll quote a non-living thing.
okay,
By chance, look at it, Anu. You're dressed for a party. You're wearing a beautiful Kanjivaram sari. Kanjivaram saris, for everyone, is one of the most beautiful silk saris in India. All right. Anu Mehta is dressed in that, and by chance, her sandals which are the most immaterial thing. You don't give any value to your footwear. It just decided the slipper or the sandal that Anu had to wear with that sari, it just decided to slip under the bed. You will not believe people. There's a very nice sentence कि वो 50,000 रुपए की साड़ी के सामने वो 500 रुपए की चप्पल आपसे साष्टांग करवा देगी. What it means is that sari worth 50,000 that you've draped around yourself, that slipper worth 500 rupees is going to make sure that you lie down flat on the ground and pull the slipper out of the bed. Now tell me, what do you think was the value? Uswat, at that time, that slipper was of utmost importance because without that, you couldn't have gone out for that beautiful party that you decided to go to.
So what you're saying is every creature, every small thing has its own importance.
Yes.
And there is nothing big or small.
No.
And
at the time of need, your glasses, if you need your glasses to read, you need your glasses to read. And all that Lord Krishna is trying to tell us is that the minute you see him in everything, a glass, slippers, anything, a broom, a human being, an ant, an elephant, a donkey, a monkey, anything, just learn to see his existence everywhere and you will value everything.
wow. So it's about actually valuing every bit of energy that's present in every different form on this planet Earth.
Yes, we do not value these things.
No, we don't.
We
We
don't.
don't.
We don't. We actually don't.
In fact, we only value when we lose something.
Yeah.
Till then, we do not value.
We do not.
Like you
and
said,
that is
shoes is when I valued those shoes and they made me lie down.
oh
Really
yes.
slipper out. It's when small finger of yours, like yesterday, I got a small cut here.
Yeah.
And that small dot I can't even see. I'll probably have to get a microscope to see. But it's really irritating me.
Yeah. And every time you'll end up touching salt or anything, it'll make you realize that it is right there.
It's right there. It's like that. So every bit of you, as long as it's functioning properly,
Yeah.
like during the COVID time, as long as everything was functioning properly, we never gave importance. We still thought we were not free. I really thought I wasn't free. I was still searching for that freedom till someone locked me up, and then I realized, oh my God, I was actually free then and not.
And I'm locked now.
And then I realized, am I going to sit down and maybe even now I'm free? I'm going to wait for bigger stories to happen for me to even value this time. So Archana, going further,
Yeah.
take me more into the 5 elements and take me more into the Bhagavad Gita and talking about the Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Yeah. We were talking about Lord Krishna being the energy behind everything. Okay. Now, what we are learning here, we're talking about basically the first chapter of Gita, right? Arjun is in a state of complete, what do you say, abandonment. He does not want to fight. He is losing all his senses. He's scared. He's seeing all his relatives in front of him on the battleground who are willing to die just for land. And here, the fight was not just for land, it was for the fight of Rani Draupadi's injustice that she had faced. And there's one sentence which I mentioned earlier also, that Draupadi, being a queen herself, born to the fire, daughter of a king, wife of 5 brave kings, was insulted in the court of Hastinapur by Duryodhan. She was almost tried to rip off of her clothes, where Lord Krishna had saved her again. And it is something that resonates to me till today, that if the court was muted, did not speak against the injustice happening there, and in today's world, when we see so many cases of wrongdoing to women, it is the same society. Nothing has changed.
I mean, right from the time the Nirbhaya case happened to even
Oh, yes.
looking at the modesty, and right up till hearing that 1-year-old can be touched, who is
Oh,
who is not safe. And
yes,
it
yes,
feels
absolutely.
as if the modesty has been one thing about the woman. If you rip off her clothes and put her in front of the public, that's not just insulting her, but insulting her whole family.
No,
It's like exposing the whole family to the most horrifying torture that you can ever subject any family or any member of the family.
lady to,
Ye-
any lady to. And
Yes.
that's the only reason that Lord Krishna took upon himself to make sure that there is this particular fight where Arjun wants to give up the fight, where Lord Krishna is telling him that being a Kshatriya, it is his duty to fight as a warrior, because he's already fought so many wars. He never thought about who's he killing. But just because it is his loved ones across the road, loved army, I mean, everybody is his family, brothers, uncle, tau, chacha, all his relatives and brothers and kids and family. So it is something like he doesn't want to fight. Why? Because he is being covered by moha. Moho is the word where you have affection for your loved ones and you are becoming weak out of emotion.
Wonderful.
And Krishna is telling him, do
Yeah.
not fall for that. Fight for the justice.
So Krishna is actually saying that attachment is a trap.
It is absolutely.
Trap.
Yes, more is, see, Anu, they're very beautiful words. They're two words, moha, or, moha and prem. The two words. When we talk normally, we do use them as synonyms, but they are not. Moh is when you are attached to somebody and you're getting weak or carried away by the emotions. And you're not able to take your stand. You're not able to detach yourself and take the right decisions in life. That is moh. Moh binds.
But really happening when we look at things and we're looking at a lot of these disrespect that's happening to the woman and or even men. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
anyone.
disrespect that's happening,
Yes.
wherein we give that opportunity to our loved ones to actually, because others don't have. You said so beautifully, Arjuna had fought
I know, I
so
think I've lost your connection. Yeah.
Arjuna had fought so many wars,
Yes, he
but
had.
he never had this duvidha. He never had this,
Never. Dilemma, never. Never. He would just pick up his bow and arrow and cut. He would kill, win, and come back.
and here it was his wife Draupadi who was insulted by his own family members, by his own
Yes.
brothers, by his own
Brothers.
teachers, and he
Yes.
was having second and third thoughts. Who will he stand by? Will he stand by the honor of his wife with his honor, or will he be looking at these people and who he has moha for, who he has love and praise
Exactly.
and attachment for,
Attachments for.
actually go out there and fight with them? And isn't that
And
in our lives even today? In
it is.
love, in the
It
name of
is.
love,
Yeah, it is.
I am ready to
And
fight
that
in the name of love.
I am sure. But that is what Lord Krishna is telling him, that it is not love, it is not prem, it is moha. And that is what he's trying to tell him and evoke his Atma, which is the consciousness inside the body, which for some reason Arjun, there are times like when we are going to do something which is a wrong action. There is always something from inside Anu which taps us and tells us, don't do it, it is wrong.
The consciousness.
Consciousness, right? The similar way, when we are doing something right, it tells us, yes, do it, perfect, great, go in. So, Arjun, for some reason, his consciousness went on a leave and his emotions took over him. And due to more, he doesn't want, he's saying it's okay, my wife was insulted. They went through a lot of tortures because of his brothers and family. but out of his weakness, his attachments, he doesn't want to fight. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is, where Lord Krishna starts his teachings telling Arjun that no, Arjun, you have to fight for the right. You have to fight for dharam. Dharam is not religion. Dharam is doing the right thing. Dharam is that your action, mind, and your thought have to be righteous. That is dharam, and it applies to each and every one of us. We fight our Mahabharats, our dharam and adham fight every day, every minute.
Yeah. So can I translate this into meta language for everybody?
Okay.
Do it right now. It's so exciting for me. Uh, you spoke about abandonment, and that's the first thing we look at in meta health. We look at abandonment, and abandonment always creates fear. For people who don't understand what's abandonment, it means I got thrown out. I didn't feel connected. I did not feel as if I belonged. And all these need to belong to someone or something or to a family becomes one of the most important attachments that we have. And that attachment is what Arjuna is being told by Lord Krishna, that this is just a illusion, that this is yours and this is mine and this is someone's. The reality is that you don't just belong to this small family. You must have the consciousness of the whole globe, not just of this family to belong to. He's more scared because he feels, oh my God, my own family, I will not be able to fit into them anymore. There'll be nobody called my bhai, my brother, my sister, because there'll be nobody left after that for me to call mine. And this is
Exactly.
the biggest stories, that we do not fight with our family members. We do not stand up for our children. We do not stand up for our people at times. Because I'll give you a small story, and which might really help. There was a client of mine who wouldn't do anything for her husband's parents, but she had a deep desire to do something for her own parents. Why? Because the moha is at different places. And
Yes.
then she
It's
actually
misplaced.
misplaced. She actually gets her parents home, and she actually tries taking care of them. But on the top of it, she wants to take care of them. But deep down in her subconscious, she's not comfortable with even that. So it's so interesting when we look at people in our daily lives. We are trying to do things which are right, but they do not resonate with us. And that is where Archana said, your mind, your body, and your soul has to be in alignment. If all three things are not in alignment, it's like one cube is here, the other cube is there, and the third cube is somewhere else. And you cannot have good health. This is the first chapter of health, that if you really, really want to have good health, get out of this moho, get out of this attachment. So easy to say. बहुत मुश्किल है यार अर्चना, समझा कैसे करना चाहिए.
You know, the beauty of it is that Krishna is actually telling us that the body that we have acquired in this life, we've just acquired it today. The soul is the energy, is the power which we have been living since eras and ages and time eternal. The soul just took another body. I might have been a ant sometime, a donkey sometime, an elephant sometime, or a peacock sometime, or even Lord Krishna at one time. I just might have been there. So that's what he's trying to tell Arjun, that, oh Arjun, you and I have been there in many lives before. We are there in this life, and we are going to exist as soul in different life again. It's a very beautiful shlok. I'll just give initials of it. It says, Nanam chiddanti shastrani, Nanam dahati pavaka, Na chain krindyanti, Na shosati marutah.
I really,
Basically,
I really understood that.
okay, beautiful. Thank you. It basically means that the soul, it cannot be pierced by weapons. The soul, it cannot be burnt by fire. The soul, it cannot be wet by water, and it cannot be dried by air. It was there, it is there, and it shall be there forever.
Wow.
And soul means the soul of Arjun, the soul of Anu Mehta, the soul of Archana, the soul of Krishna, the soul of the universe. It's just the energy. It exists initially, it exists today. It seems like Arjun and Krishna are again having a conversation on Facebook Live and Zoom and YouTube, talking about Mahabharata again and discussing it. It's just the life form that's changed.
So it
The
is actually
soul,
who are burning in these emotions. It's actually our body and not our soul that's burning with all the emotions. Even jealousy can burn.
soul is pure, untouched.
It cannot
Absolutely.
bend, it cannot be destroyed. And this is
No,
what
it
we say,
cannot. It
let's say
cannot.
in physics,
Yeah,
the soul, the energy cannot be created,
the
it
energy.
cannot be
Yes.
destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form.
One form to another.
So what Archana is saying is that we have transformed from one form to another all our lives. And we've had so many lives. But in every life, we had one voice. And that voice is that we felt that we'll be abandoned and we will have no attachment.
That was just one of the vices.
If we can go beyond it,
Yeah,
that will be true victory in your
absolutely.
entire life. It is the,
Exactly. And it's much harder, much easier than done. Trust me,
it is.
it is. And you have to just learn to separate yourself from the body consciousness to atom consciousness. You have to learn to know that if there is a disease in the body, the disease is in the body, not in the soul. The moment you learn to differentiate the two, you will know that how finally in the 18th chapter where Arjuna gives up everything to Krishna and tells him, I am ready to do the war. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to, fight against the evil. That's the whole story of Bhagavad Gita.
So, Archana, the last spinning question that really comes to my mind, because I'm somebody who believes that there is no right or wrong. I'm
Yeah.
also someone who believes that there is no evil and
Okay.
there is nothing good or bad.
Okay.
So, how do you define that I will fight the evil?
I know it is evil per se according to the situation of a particular person. For him, it was injustice that his brother did not give the throne, though even they deserved it. It was injustice that they were duped in the game of dice, and after looting everything from their kingdom to their to making slaves of their brother, they even won their wife and they insulted the lady in the court. So that was wrong. Yes, even today we say it's wrong. It is just that. And every era has its own truth that they have to battle. It was there, that battle, that time. In current time, we have our current evils that we are fighting. We fight it. Right or wrong is a personal perspective, but it is there. Okay? I mean, if that helps you.
What I understand is that, and what you said so beautifully, and what I understood, and maybe this will help people, is that so far I always thought that two families have a different consciousness, two souls have different consciousness. um, when I talk about consciousness, it goes back to I will be abandoned from a family, so I will do everything to keep myself in the family, and my consciousness, my actions try to keep me in a balanced place, which is try to keep me connected to the family wherever I am from. But what was most amazing is that in one family, what may be right may be wrong in the other family. For example, um, let's say I am from an Adivasi family and where I dress up, maybe not wearing a choli on the top, that's the blouse.
Yeah.
I just wear a short skirt made out of my sari and then just cover my torso on the top with that.
Yeah.
And that's considered right in the Adivasi families. Maybe there are also certain places where women aren't wearing any clothes, and that's considered right
Yeah.
too, per se. Somewhere where it was maybe you're wearing too much may be considered wrong now, or right. Now, it's the consciousness means basically you belong to that group which has a similar way of thinking.
Exactly. That culture, that society, that place where you come from, that kind of, let's say, upbringing or their thought process. It's that.
It's that.
But yes, but again, saying that, two particular here, when we are talking about Gita, Arjun, Krishna, and the two families which are standing against each other to fight, they had committed something that was wrong in that era, and probably even today, if we take it, it is wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong according to the consciousness. Obviously, there are certain protectors who should have
Who
protected.
should have taken this? Oh, yes, they should have taken the stand then and there in the court, done their duty, which they did not do.
And
So they were punished.
Krishna to stand there
He had to. He
and
had to.
intervene twice. Once to cover up the lady. Second time to stand with Arjun to tell him what is his duty.
And this is after the action of Draupadi's Chiraran had happened. The Pandavas still told the Kauravas that just give us 5 villages and we'll manage with them. And the sentence that came back from Duryodhan was, I am not even willing to give you an inch of land. So when Duryodhan took that stand, then the Pandavas said, okay, fine, then we have to fight for our right. There are times we have to fight for our rights. We
So
have to fight for the injustice to our wife. We have to fight for dharam. And that's what they did.
dharam over here probably means the duty. What
The duty or dharam, according to Gita, basically means the place where in your conscious the right place is there. It is the right action to do. That is what dharam.
so
It is not religion.
basically Krishna is saying that if you're just in awareness
Yes.
but not taking action,
Yeah.
then
That's not right.
it's not okay. So
No.
about mind, body, and soul, we are actually talking about you've accepted that there is an issue, you
Yeah.
are aware there is an issue, and you're doing something about it.
Yeah. It is something like that
It
Yeah, it is something like that beautiful sentence, Anu, where they say that tolerating injustice or tolerating something wrong done to you is a sin. Yes. Doing injustice or something wrong is a sin, and tolerating it is a crime.
it's a bigger sin,
It's a bigger sin. It's a crime.
right?
So if you're doing wrong to somebody, that's a sin. But knowing that something wrong has happened and you're tolerating it, the other person takes it as a weakness. So it's a
But
crime.
isn't that what's happening, Archana, in the families?
Yeah, that's what Lord Krishna is teaching us. That be tolerant, be humble, be patient. But if need be, pick up your bow and arrow and fight like Arjun when need be.
Absolutely. So you need to stand up for yourself and not wait for Masiha to come, because
Nobody is going to come.
Krishna could have fought this battle, but he didn't. He asked the body, the small I, to fight for his own rights, what he thought was right and wrong. And if he felt that there was injustice done, then he was the only one who was going to get out of that by fighting against his family members, his mentors, his people. What is not
Easy.
it's not easy.
It's not easy. Absolutely not.
And
When you're standing against your own loved ones, it's the most difficult thing to do.
the people from whom you want love, to stand against them and to teach them a lesson with love, but creating fight over there is probably one of the most difficult things to do. So I will invite right now Archana to conclude this whole today by her humble words. What do you think should we be doing in very simple language? This Mahabharata is going on in everyone's house, in everyone's heart. And one thing that I need to acknowledge that you said was so interesting. It's not just the consciousness between the two families or two souls. It's the consciousness of your mind, consciousness of your body, and consciousness of your soul. And I never knew that that could fight with each other. It's what one thinks is right, the other thinks is wrong, and the third thinks is right. It's so crazy what is right or wrong. So Archana, your thoughts on this?
Only thing that I would like all of you to live your life in the most beautiful, happy way, where you can learn to differentiate yourself between the energy of your body and the supreme energy of the soul. The minute you know that the headache is in the body and not the soul is eternal. It was there, it is there today, and it shall be even after the body perishes. You will live in a very different level. You will
Absolutely.
live in a level where nothing with your conscience you'll ever be doing wrong. And I think that's a very beautiful way to live.
Absolutely. प्यार करो तो ऐसे करो कि you live to be happy, not live just to do a time pass with yourself. Because every
And
minute,
Anu, the worst is we don't know how to even love ourselves. You know that? Forget about loving others, understanding others. We don't even love ourselves. We are criminals to ourselves.
absolutely right, Archana. I keep getting drawings, and you mentioned about drawings. I yesterday got 2 drawings of the person, and all I had to look at the drawings and ask her, very beautiful drawings. So you've given yourself 6 months more to live. May I ask you why?
Okay.
Now, what I'm talking here is, हम कहते कुछ हैं, करते कुछ हैं, दिमाग में कुछ और चल रहा होता है,
Beautiful.
और यही
What's
कश्मकश है, और यही हमारी तीनों कॉन्शियसनेस है जिसे हमें अलाइन करना है. And if we can align what's going on in our head, in our heart, and in our mind, we will be much happier people. Thank you so much, folks.
absolutely?
We are just trying
Thank you, Amrita.
new thing with you, which we are getting Bhagavad Gita with Dr. Archana. She's from Delhi. She's also a homeopath doctor. And I'm the pioneer in the field of meta health. I'm Dr. Anu Mehta. We're getting this for you right now. Do let us know how you're finding this program. And if you really think this is worth it, then we will go officially with it for next few days till Diwali so that you can get the best insights and something keeps you comforted and holds you tight with lots of love. Thank you very much. Love you all. Love you, Archana. Bye.
Thank you, Anu. See you.
फिर से मिलेंगे. Thank you.
Thank you.